Welcome to the Valley Christian Conservatory online devotions. We all need an encouraging word and inspiration to be more like Jesus. May the people sharing and the message they bring touch your spirit and strengthen your heart. After watching this video, take some time to reflect on what was meaningful to you and any application of what you've learned. Then share your thoughts in the forum. Write at least 3 sentences and allow others to be uplifted by your comments. Dave, thank you so much for joining with this devotional and being able to share.
Yeah.
And wanted to find out a little bit more about you and what brought you to Valley.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Reg. I know we've been trying to do this for about a year or so. So it's hard with our crazy schedules, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my journey is kind of a long one. I've been playing drums or percussion. Let's say a drum set started in the 8th grade.
Wow.
And I was heavily inspired by this movie called Song Remains the Same. And it's a documentary about this rock and roll band called Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's just a rock and roll band from from England or something. And then they did a week concerts at the Garden in New York. And so they documented the whole thing, like what the process is putting the whole show together and everything else. And then finding out people that are like frauding the band and stuff like that. And you see all that documentary happening. But I saw the drum set player, John Bonham, and for whatever reason, it just stuck. And it was just something that's like, I want to do that.
That's great. Wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I just started taking just drum set lessons like everybody else. And then got into high school and did the typical marching band, jazz band. Well, we only had one little band because I went to a Catholic high school, really small. On a good year, maybe the marching band was like 50.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it was really small. So we did that, and then we just had concert band because we only had enough students for just one band.
Mm-hmm.
And so it obviously did that all my 4 years at high school, and then moved on and went to a junior college for a couple of years, and met a guy that that has a lot of experience in drum and bugle corps. And so we started drumming together, and he started showing me, hey, you got to be able to do this and that and this and that. So I did that, and then I auditioned for a couple of drum corps and went on 2 summer tours with 2 different groups, which was great. And one of them was out of Canada.
Mm.
So that was a really great life experience because I've been living in California all my life. And this group is all the way out in Toronto.
Mm.
So they kind of called me up through a reference. So I went out and lived out in Toronto for about 4.5 months. And then we did the normal competition tour throughout North America and the South. And it was great.
Wow.
So that, for whatever reason, that really told me, I think you really want to do music. Because up until that point, I wasn't really sure. I would take a bunch of GE classes at the community college and didn't find anything that was like, hey, I think I'm really interested in this. Yeah. And so then I came back from tour, and it just said, this is what you're going to do. So I called San Jose State, where the percussion teacher was there, a really famous guy. And I said, hey, I think in a couple of years, I want to come out there and study. Can we start doing lessons? He said, yes. So I started doing private lessons with him about a year and a half before I submitted my application for San Jose State. And then I went there. And after that, I studied at the Conservatory of Music to get a master's, and was fortunate enough to be around a lot of really smart musicians.
That's great.
Yeah. And the whole scene of the conservatory, and we were able to get free tickets to the San Francisco Symphony every week. So it's like to be able to listen to the professionals and be around them. It's like, that's something you really can learn from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Wow. Sounds great.
Which then led me on to freelance percussion, meaning I would play with local orchestras and stuff like that, and private teachers, and then teaching at some local high schools. I was kind of doing that for a long while, and actually went on tour with another drum corps as a teacher and did that for like 4 summers, and that was great. And then I got back, and this is where everything kind of didn't shift, but my focus had to get a little bit more serious, where I had student loans because of school, right? Mm-hmm. And then the government said, hey, you really need to start paying these things back. It's like, well, I can't be doing on the way at what I'm doing right now.
Right.
So then I went into high tech, but I kept doing all music. was just on the side more. So I never stopped doing music, and so I did high tech for about 10 years. And then throughout those days of teaching, that's where I met Jeff Wilson, who actually is here, right? And we taught together at a couple other places, and then he ended up getting a job here. And then about a year and a half later, after I think he was here a year and a half or 2 years, they Troy and Jeff said, "Hey, let's get a percussion guy in here." And I think Jeff just said, "I know that guy."
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really easy fit because I'm a born Catholic. I've been a Catholic all my life. I mean, that's all I know is the Catholic Church, and so so it was an easy fit. There wasn't like anything like different.
Right.
We all believe in Jesus. We all believe in God. We all love and respect, and so it just all works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was about 18 and a half years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, tell us a little about your family.
Yeah, so I have four children, and two are twins, and they're currently here, 8th graders.
Oh,
so big step next year in the high school world.
Yes.
And then my two other sons actually went here too as well. That was several years ago, and they're on doing their own careers now. And the youngest son is getting married, which is super exciting. This coming up summer. And then Chieko and I have been together. We just were talking about the other day, 20 years.
Nice.
It's like starting up. So it's like, holy cow, that's a long time. So they're all doing really, really great. Thanks for asking.
Well, hey, tell us a little bit, maybe something that has encouraged you along the way, your spiritual journey.
Okay, so something that I think about, every day, because I live in Gilroy. So it's always a commute. And the majority of the time we take Highway 101. And I'm in awe when we're driving here, because there's beautiful hills everywhere, right? And I look, it's like, if you do not know that's God's creation, then I don't know what else to tell you, right?
It's beautiful.
It is. And I think we just don't take time to just see the little things that he's done, right? Or that he does.
Right.
And I know it's a rat race and we're trying to just get by, but I think if we would just do less and not think that we always have to be busy. If for some reason in our DNA, we think we have to be doing something all the time. And God doesn't want us to do that. He wants us to be able to reflect and to relax and to enjoy and to respect and not take things for granted and appreciate it. And so like the rolling hills, or when the sun's coming up, and it's like, it's just so beautiful. And every morning I look out at the same location. It's like, man, that's really, really cool. So my spiritual journeys, well, again, it started when I was born, right? So it's I just have learned to be more graceful and respectful and more loving. I try really hard never to judge anybody by an action that may have happened or not happened, because we all have flaws. We're not perfect.
That's for sure.
Right. So I think that's been my biggest growth, I think, in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, as we get older.
Yeah.
Right. And we mature a little bit more, but just to appreciate things and not take things for granted, because it's so easy to do that. And it's just not a healthy way.
Yeah, you miss things along the way sometimes.
You do, because we think we always have to be busy. It's like, we really don't.
Hey, what is one of your favorite verses?
So one that I have on my phone, and one that we use here in the conservatory a lot, which I really like a lot. It's 1 Corinthians 10:31. And Paul writes, "Whenever you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all of it in the glory of God." And if we just keep that thought, you're going to you're going to be a good person, a good human being, but you're really going to appreciate everything, because you're living and you want to do things well, or you want to do things right. And I think it's just a great verse.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and telling us a little bit about your life and some things that have influenced you, and that's been very encouraging.
Great.
So thank you so much.
All right, Reg, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.